Hi, I hope you're well today. Today's video is all about giving you some hope, some reassurance and some motivation. If this is your first Christmas sober, or if you're planning on doing Christmas sober and you're worried that it's going to be a real struggle, or you're thinking this is going to be absolutely impossible for you, today's video is about giving you some hope and helping you to understand that it is possible. I'm going to share with you what it was like for me my first Christmas sober, and I'm going to compare that with now, several years down the line, what this Christmas is like, so that you understand that over time this does get easier and that you can do this. So my first Christmas sober I approached it with fear, with trepidation. I was dreading it. We normally spend Christmas Day at my parents' house with the rest of my family, and normally I would drink a lot of alcohol and I would end up drunk and I would end up full of shame and regret and feeling absolutely crap the next day, and then usually having to drink some more, hair of the dog, to get rid of that hungover feeling and to start feeling just kind of normal again. And so this was my first Christmas sober. I'd stopped drinking in, I think it was October time, November time. And so it was my early days of living life sober. And so Christmas Day was a challenge for me. And the other thing that I was dealing with was that I had some sort of bug over Christmas. I think it came on Christmas Eve or the day before Christmas Eve. And I'd been lying in bed feeling really, really sick. And I had a phobia about vomiting. So I was dealing with these feelings of nausea and sickness and panic and terror about vomiting, knowing that I had to go to my mother and my parents on Christmas Day, and really getting anxious and panicked about that. So for me, my first Christmas Day sober was all about dealing with feelings of panic, terror, anxiety, knowing that I couldn't reach for my trusty old friend alcohol to relieve me of those symptoms, because that's another thing that alcohol did for me. So I approached Christmas Day with fear and anxiety. But, and here's a little tip for you, one of the things you can do to help get you through is to mentally rehearse what you're going to do instead of drinking alcohol. So I had pre-planned, I knew what drink I was taking with me, and I had mentally rehearsed what it was going to be like travelling to my parents on Christmas Day. I'd mentally rehearsed how it was going to be different. I'd mentally rehearsed what I was going to be drinking. And I'd done all of that preparation before I even got to Christmas Day itself. And I remember waking up in the morning and I just remember lying in bed feeling terrified. What if I was sick in the car on the way there? It's about an hour and a half's drive. What if I was sick? What if I felt sick while I was there? The super paranoid kind of feelings that I had about being sick or being ill in front of other people were ridiculous. And so I had all these feelings of paranoia, panic and terror. Even as I was getting into the car and driving there, I was full of terror and full of anxiety. And myself and my boyfriend, we stopped off along the way to my parents on Christmas Day and we picked up my son. And I remember really distinctly when we picked up my son from his house on the way, I was so full of anxiety that even that was making me feel sick, let alone having this bug or feeling sick anyway. I was kind of doing it to myself in my fear of being sick was making me feel sick. And I remember picking him up and just putting on a really false, fake smile and falsely pretending that I was okay and everything was all right, saying hello to him, giving him the Christmas hugs and everything, and then just concentrating really, really hard on the conversation in the car on the way to my mum and dad's for Christmas. And concentrating really, really hard on coming across as if I was okay, when inside I was absolutely terrified. But we got to mum and dad's and I got through it. And this is the thing, it's really important to understand, is no matter how scared you are, no matter how anxious you are, and for you it might be something different. It might not be panic, it might not be terror, it might not be fear, it might not be anxiety, it could be different emotions. We're all going to have different emotions as we approach our first Christmas sober. It's not going to be the same for everyone. But whatever the emotions are, whatever you're feeling, you will get through it. I had such high levels of anxiety and fear that day, and I got through it. And not only did I get through it, but I also had moments of enjoyment. I remember being really honest with my mum about how I was feeling and saying, look, I'm feeling really ill. I haven't eaten much. I'm really sorry. And kind of pre-prepared her so that I didn't feel super self-conscious and I didn't feel under pressure to eat what was on my plate, because I'd already kind of let her know that I might not be able to eat much. And then that was okay, and it took that pressure off my shoulders. And so I felt a degree of relief. And because I felt a degree of relief, I was able to then enjoy things a little bit more. So by the time we got round to visiting my son's girlfriend's parents and having a drink with them, I was very relaxed, and I was less pretending to be okay and more actually feeling genuinely okay and relaxing with the conversation. And so whatever you're feeling, whatever your emotions, you can get through it. If I could get through all that terror, fear and anxiety on that first Christmas day sober, you can do it too. The real trick to it is just to plan and prepare in advance and mentally rehearse what you're going to do instead of drinking. Plan what drink you're going to take. Mentally rehearse how you're going to be. Plan anything you might have to say to anybody, your reasons and your excuses for why you're not drinking. Get that all planned and prepared and rehearsed in your head, and even rehearsed out loud before you approach Christmas Day. And the great thing is that you know when you wake up the next morning, you are going to feel great. You are going to feel a sense of achievement, a sense of pride in yourself, a sense of, oh, I did that. And you're going to have some good memories of the day. Even though it can sometimes feel like hard work and a struggle actually getting through it, you wake up the next morning with a little smile on your face. You're kind of remembering fondly some of the things that were said, some of the things that were done, and you discover that you actually did enjoy some of it. You did manage to have a laugh. And that feeling is so rewarding. It's so positive, and it's such an important step to you living life more and more confidently sober, to do that first Christmas Day and wake up the next morning feeling fantastic that you managed to navigate the whole thing sober. And that's exactly what happened to me. But the point I want to make in today's video is that although this might seem like a struggle the first time round, and you need to put all of this planning, all of this thought and all of this concentration into navigating the whole thing sober, you don't have to keep doing this forevermore. It gets easier and easier with practice. So here I am, 3 or 4 years down the line. I can't even remember how many years have passed now, but some way down the line, living my life sober, and I'm approaching Christmas very, very differently. So my partner and I are going away tomorrow. We're currently in the UK and we're visiting a different part of the UK for Christmas. We're house sitting for someone who has a cat and wants her cat looked after over Christmas while she goes away. So we're going to be house sitting and we're treating it as a bit of a holiday. We're going away for Christmas. We'll be doing Christmas Day with my son, who's going to cook for us. And all I'm feeling at the moment, instead of all that fear, trepidation and anxiety, all I'm feeling at the moment is excitement. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing my son. I'm looking forward to spending Christmas Day with him and seeing his new house that he's moved into. I'm looking forward to spending time with this little cat and having a cat on my lap and enjoying all the purring and the therapy that comes with having animals around you. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to all the activities my boyfriend and I are going to be doing while we're away for a couple of weeks. So all the exploring, all the sights we're going to see, the beaches we're going to visit, all of that kind of thing. I'm just really looking forward to it. And it's such a different way of feeling to how I felt that first Christmas sober. And this is the bit I really want to share with you, that it's possible that you can do this And the more you do it, the more you practice, the more you get through these things sober, the easier and easier it becomes. Until, like me here today, right now, you end up just really looking forward to things and you're not even thinking about drinking. I'm not giving alcohol a second thought. I'm not having to plan what I'm going to do instead of drinking. I'm not having to think about how to navigate this Christmas sober. I'm not having to think about Christmas dinner at my son's house and what I'm going to drink instead. None of that is a consideration. It's not even a thought. It's just that I am living life sober. Drinking isn't an option. And what I'm doing is I'm looking forward to things. I'm looking forward to... It's really hard to explain. It's like... drink or alcohol doesn't feature anymore. It's not part of a thought process. I'm not giving any energy to it. So I'm just looking forward to Christmas Day for its own sake, spending time with my son on its own without alcohol. I'm just looking forward to things for the beauty and the joy and the contentment they bring in their own right. And alcohol doesn't clutter my thought processes. So I've gone from that first Christmas sober from feeling deeply terrified, anxious and panicked to feeling super excited and looking forward to Christmas and looking forward to enjoying all sorts of different activities around Christmas without alcohol entering into any thought process at all. And if this is possible for me, then it's also possible for you too. And I want you to take some hope and some reassurance from this. Yes, sure, you have to spend some time, some energy, some concentration on your first Christmas sober. But you can do it, and you can still get some enjoyment and some pleasure from it. And you can wake up the next morning feeling great, feeling a sense of achievement, self-pride, self-worth, and growing confidence. And as time passes and you get through more and more events sober, you eventually get to the stage where Christmas is a breeze, New Year is a breeze. So I hope this has been useful to you. I'll look forward to catching up with you very soon. But in the meantime, let's do Christmas sober.